So welcome to the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates. I'm Steve Carver. This is my presentation number 956. So I appreciate you joining me on my journey to 1,000 and looking forward to and appreciate being a part of your journey into entrepreneurship. We have a lot of folks who continue to attend all of our webinars, and we're certainly glad to have you all the time. This presentation is being sponsored by the Small Business Center and its director, Derek Armstead, over at the center at Roanoke Chowan Community College in the Hosky. Derek's a fine young man, and he does a good job helping folks get their businesses started. And I'll mention to you, I guess he would be one of the ones in your area, Randy, that is a real good person to talk to if you got any questions or want to set up an appointment. It's a good place to work. Of course, you've got a school right there in Elizabeth City as well, I think.
Yes.
But Derek's a good fellow and certainly a good person to talk with. He is a Marine Corps veteran. I appreciate all the veterans out here in the world. I say special thanks for his service and all of the veterans as well. My story, just so you might have an interest in figuring me out, I started at 12 years old doing business when my dad and I moved to Dunn, North Carolina from Hope Mills in 1959. Still been in business all that time, 62 years. Operating in Dunn over here between Fayetteville and Smithfield. Started a Alice Chalmers tractor dealership. And except for the time I was in the Coast Guard during the 60s and 70s, I've been involved in that business and still am. When our business was active, this is what the dealership looked like for over 51 years. Now, of course, I've sold that and actually sold the property as well. But so many customers through the years have been to see us there. And we're still holding on with customers because we changed the business to go online, serving mainly customers nationwide online, and also developed several contracting businesses, lawn mowing businesses, service businesses, and then after selling the dealerships, started doing one-on-one management training with folks, wrote a few books, and it's kind of become a second career for us doing stars. For 11 to 12 years, I've been traveling in this area of North Carolina in approximately 22 different community colleges where I have been giving webinars and seminars all out the state, and just have come to really love this. I call it the Chitlin service, Chitlin circuit, because I'm used to dealing with people in rural areas, and I love that with my farm equipment business. So this area is right at home with me to serve folks that have been born and raised in eastern North Carolina. This is the front page of the home page of our website to give you an idea of the kind of stuff that I sell every day online. Today I had a great day. Just very thankful. I sold one of these Sickle Bar Mowers this afternoon over in Montana. Isn't that something? On the way to Montana. And I got an order for one of these drum mowers in Colorado. And I'm talking to a fellow about one of these hay balers right here down in South Carolina. So the internet just amazes me. For so many years, we were just serving people within 20 or 30 miles of Dunn, North Carolina, and that's not a lot of folks.
No.
Now, after being on the internet for over 30 years, we have literally thousands of customers. And you know, I've learned that it's just as easy to create a relationship with a customer online and through good business telephone calls, and when you do business the right way, people will come back to see you. So that's certainly what we present. Randy, if you had come to a webinar and you were looking at me, this is what the old goat would look like. and so that, not much to look at, but we do the best we can do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's what we do. I'm not a. Excuse me. I think we both got allergies. I hear you coughing too.
Tickle in my throat, couldn't get rid of.
That's right. I've got a Coke here and some water, but the pollen really does it to me. But I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant, just an old salesman and businessman offering free advice the best way I know how to do it. And the first piece of advice I like to give folks is always get a second and third opinion before you make a major decision that's going to affect your financial security. One of the handouts that is mailed to you, did you get your handouts, Randy? Did you register online?
No.
All right, well, I will send you handouts for the program tonight. They should have already been sent to you. But one of the handouts, we call it the Main Street Smart Skills. And what this is 40 different skills and techniques and tips. And if you haven't been in the retail business or running your own business for a while, I'm going to guarantee you that spend some time on these. Just do one a day. In the handouts, you're going to be able to go to videos, and I go through each one of these skills one at a time to give you a way of thinking about how to run a small business. And after doing it myself for 63 years, I picked up the things that I use every day that'll make the difference. And I have so many people that attend our webinars that send me notes and saying this little practice drill skill thing helps more people than anything else that I do. So I'm glad to share that with you and encourage you to give it a try. The study guides will include a study guide on how to 20 businesses. You can start with $100 or less, and then a number of other businesses. I heard you say that you're trying to diversify and doing different things with the pressure washing and edging and different types of mowing. That is so important for you, and I'm glad to hear that, because it'll make a major difference for you. So it's really important to not only have your business ideas on your mind, but also to reduce it down to paper, some type of business plan, so you've got a direction you know that you're heading in, and to give you some way to chart the course on how much progress you're making. But you've already covered some of these grounds already, because you found time to make finding time for your new business. I want you to understand the basics of trading time for money, because that's what you're doing. When I first got started, I just thought I was mowing grass for $1, you know. But as you grow your business, you're going to learn real quickly that it's all about how much time you have and how much income you're going to end up at the end of the day for the time that you spent. And so I do a lot of classes on trading time for money, and we'll be glad to send you some study guides on that as well. How to set prices is important, and in this webinar we've got coming up next week, that might be one that you would enjoy attending to help figure out how to price for your service, and when you're trying to do contracts, how to go in that direction.
Yes, that was one of the main things. Yep.
That's right, and it messes us up. And if you want to grow your business in 2022, you're going to need a number of profit centers, which you've already mentioned, and also an internet presence. Some way that people can find you very easily and very inexpensively. Let me take a moment to welcome Andrew. It's good to have you back on board, Andrew. I hope you've had a good day. And Angela, it's good to see you back as well.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yes, indeed. And Randy is on board with us. Randy's over in Elizabeth City, and he's just into starting his own grass cutting business. So we've got a resident expert on board with us tonight in Randy that telling us about some new things that are going on that we all can learn from. So we'll leave the mics on if y'all want to interrupt me and ask any questions along the way. As long as we don't have too many people, that'll make for a better class that we can have together. So welcome. So we'll keep on moving along. So let's take things one step at a time. You can start your own lawn care business. Pretty much anyone can do it, provided that the stars are lined up right for you. There's some reasons you don't want to do it, and I want to make sure we cover those. But starting your own business is something that pretty much everyone can do, and starting a lawn cutting business, depending on the size you want to start at, it can be an affordable thing to do. But now let's talk about it's easy to push a lawnmower or run a weed eater. It's not easy to be out in the hot sun all day long, but here's some things that we have to do that's not a part of cutting grass if you don't have a successful business. Number one, we're going to have to learn the skills of forecasting, not weather forecasting, but forecasting the things that we're going to have to do in our business to be prepared to do more business, to be prepared for problems that are going to come along, to be prepared for seasonal type stuff. So things just don't happen by themselves. In business, you forecast and you plan and you make things happen for yourself. I want you to forecast profit opportunities as things come along. And tonight, I'm going to mention a lot of different stuff, kind of looking at this from 20,000 feet, and maybe give you some ideas of different ways that you can grow or make more money in your business and take less risk. Now, the word risk is going to come up often because you're in a risky business. Anytime we have a business that is depends on the weather, anytime we have a business that depends on operating equipment that is dangerous and uses fuel like gasoline, anytime we have a business that depends on us traveling on the road where we can have accidents or have to spend a lot of money for gas, there's going to be a risk factor in this business. So I'll be speaking about risk management quite a bit tonight. Now, if you have your study guides, you can go ahead and follow along with me. If you don't have it, just pay attention to the slides, and remember that tomorrow I'll send you a video of this presentation with the study guide. So if you want to on your own, you can just go back through the video and with your study guide and make notes as you want to. But listen to me, if you're out of sight with your customers, then you're out of mind with them too. So if you want regular, dependable, and repeat business and new business, then we normally need to do some marketing so you can stay inside of your customers. And that means signage, that means internet presence, it means business cards and a brochure, and preparing yourself to do more business if you want to grow. A factor is that each and every one of us has to determine how large do we want this business to be. We might be just retired and just want something that you can do by yourself, don't really want to hire someone else, you just want to make some extra pocket change to satisfy the wife's to-do list, or you might want to actually turn it into a full-fledged business so you can hire some other employees and you can sit back at your beach house and just count your money as other crews are out there doing the mowing. Does that sound like a dream or what? Well, I want to tell you that for 12 years I ran 6 crews. One day a week I would run with the crews, but the rest of the time I had good managers that had a great job, and we grew a business that brought in a lot of money. So I can tell you it can be done because I've done it myself. Learning how to run advertising is going to be really important because I want to tell you that most money that people spend, especially new business people, most of the money that we spend will be wasted. How do I know that? Because I've wasted over $4 million, I guess, in my time because I spent $6 million, and I know that 75% of it was wasted. Once I learned how to start managing my ads and using the look and hook system, using the ×3 system, the 27 times rule, a number of things. If you study how to put together a marketing campaign, I'm going to tell you that you can make your ads pay for themselves. Now, we don't have time tonight to get into how to do that marketing plan, but I will be doing that in the webinars that will be starting in late April. So make sure you tune back in, and I can give you all the information that I can on that, or I'm happy to send you free study guides on it now. A lot of folks are getting started here just following a dream. You know, that's kind of how I got started. When I was rocking along good, I had a real good equipment business, growing my rental business, getting into the forklifts. But personally, I was used to doing equipment, and I wanted to do something different and hopefully make some money doing it. And I had fallen in love with landscape design and plants and flowers and painting pictures with flowers, so to speak. Southern Living magazines was a favorite thing that I read for a lot of years, and Southern Living still got these sections with pretty gardens in it and tells about different plants. So I said to myself, as a hobby, I'm going to start doing high-end landscape design. Well, when I said that to myself, I learned that to advertise that you are a licensed designer, you got to have a license, and that requires that you take a pretty serious design tests in school and things like that and become qualified and licensed in it. So I didn't ever pursue that to have a license. So I just offered free design work. Didn't charge anything for my designs. However, I always put a quotation on it that if someone wanted me to do the landscaping, I would do it. And lo and behold, you know what? After less than 3 months, I was getting good projects, and I targeted my projects starting at $6,000. So my projects were $6,000 and up. And for about 5 years, I did a project every month except during December and January. So I brought in some Goodman, had a special crew that did nothing but landscaping work on those projects. We didn't do any irrigation. We didn't do any lighting, and but we did do sod work. And I've subcontracted people to come in and do bricks and bulkheads and lighting and irrigation, and got a commission from them. So you can make some good money provided you know what you're doing with landscape design, and that can put you right in the high-end landscaping. The key is you got to do your homework. Just like Randy mentioned, if you don't have your pesticide license, you got to know what the heck you're doing. People gave me their landscape design work and then let me do the landscaping because my strong point was I did my design for easy maintenance. Some landscape designers just do it, put stuff everywhere, and it's really hard to mow around it or trim around it, or plants get too big too soon. I knew all of that stuff about how not to make it hard to maintain, and that gave me an edge with my customers. And when I gave my presentations, usually not only did we get the landscape job, and if they didn't do the work themselves, which if they did, I tried to sell them the equipment from my equipment company. But if they didn't, we got the mowing contracts and maintenance for them. It's so important to you that if you want to get started, just to say, all right, let's go do it. Quit the procrastination. And a lot of us just can't take that first step. Well, I want to say to you that 95% of any major task is taking the first step. You just got to get out there and give it a try. Take that first job and go do it. Put a price on it and see how it works out for you. So what qualifies me to talk to you guys about this project? Well, for over 12 years, I owned a large commercial mowing business. Our sales were averaged over $550,000 a year. Had 18 employees, always at least 7 vehicles, and always at least 10 riding mowers. We did over 3,000 apartments a week for 12 consecutive years. Now, of course, that's a week that is in growing season. So we moved around. We didn't go to them every week, but every week we were managing 3,000 apartments. I had 12 upscale landscape projects each year, and the whole time I was running equipment sales and leasing and servicing for over 45 years in the mowing business type industry. So I've been there and done that. I've got a whole drawer full of T-shirts to prove it, and a lot of people that have worked with me over a number of years that we still have great relationships. Now, there's good reasons not to do this. If allergies kill you, then you probably don't need to be in the outside mowing business. And this past 2 weeks to tell you that. If you can't stand a hot day's work, if you're susceptible to heat stroke or heat exhaustion, this is not the right business. I'm just telling you now. How do I know that? Because eventually, after 12 years in it, I had my first heat exhaustion episode. And after that, it was downhill for everything that was related to heat. It's my fault it happened. I let it get ahead of me. I didn't drink enough water one day. It was really hot. I was working by myself. I didn't realize I'd quit sweating, and before I knew it, I was almost passing out. And from that day forward, things have been different in my life. So I want to give you that warning right now. If you plan to take extended trips in the summertime with your wife or with your family, or you like to go away most of the spring and summer to other places, then you probably don't need to be in the landscape and mowing business, because customers kind of like for you to be close by looking after your business. If you plan to stay with something till you become good at it, it's great. But a lot of people will get into the mowing business and just decide they don't like it and get out of it. Well, if you tend to get out of something before you give it a chance to work, the mowing business is a good place for you to repeat that bad mistake. The key to making money in this business is staying in it long enough to learn the tricks of the trade. It's kind of like any other business. There's secrets, there's way you do things, there's corners you can cut here and little things you can do there. Learning the right customers that'll pay you good, learning how not to take some jobs. And if you don't need to stay with it a little while before you give up. So let me just give you that heads up advice going into this, okay? Let's kind of keep it simple. The lawn care business is not all that complicated. It can be confusing depending on what scope you're looking at or how far you want to push yourself or your employees. But a key thing to do is to know that marketing, the main marketing tip I want to mention to you is I want you to have a database of customers' email addresses, and I want you to start learning how to use Facebook. Facebook is a real important tool for folks doing local yard maintenance business. You're able there to show before and after pictures. You're able to keep your name in front of your community. And your best opportunity for new business is probably going to be new people in the community. And if you're in an area where a lot of new people are moving in, as down on the coast, and I see all of y'all are down east, the factor is that someone that's new coming in or that's just built a new house or just moved into a subdivision, they're not loyal to anyone else. So when they start shopping and looking for someone maybe to help them get their yard in shape, to get it cleaned up, to do some pressure washing, to do some edging, pruning for the first time, if you've got a good presence on Facebook and you learn how to make it work for you, it'll go a long way. So it has nothing to do with mowing, but it has everything with growing your mowing business. So I'll mention again the series of webinars that we're going to start in late April. Then that would this subject will be the topic on 2 of those webinars. So I want to give you another encouragement to join us. Lean forward. Don't lean backwards. I took this photograph 15 years ago with a gentleman down in Federal, himself and one helper, one riding lawnmower, one stand-up lawnmower, working. This is a computer engineer, North Carolina State, doctorate degree. Quit his computer job, a big paying job in the Research Triangle Park, and started cutting grass in Fayetteville. And what he did was he learned the secret that if you can keep mowing and do more mowing during the day and less riding and traveling from spot to spot, then you can make some good money and stay out of stress. So this gentleman's main job he did was, his goal was to take one neighborhood or one subdivision at a time. And he has it set up now where he'll spend a whole day in basically a real confined area of town. Sometimes it's in the same subdivision if it's a real big one, or on 0 lot lines in the old sections of town. He do that on Mondays. On Tuesdays, he goes to another section where he almost never even has to move his truck because, excuse me, because the properties are so close together. And he has mastered this marketing skill so that he works 4 days a week on his regular business plan, pays his bill, makes his profit. And 4 days a week is a good way to work it, because if you develop your calendar, Randy and Andrew, if you develop your calendar, Angela, basically on 4 days, then that gives you 3 days a week that you can fill it, go back and fill in if you had a rain out or equipment down. It also gives you a day to spend with your family and to do personal things or to have a life. So I like to encourage folks getting into this business. Make your appointments on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Try to stay on target. That leaves you the weekend to fix your equipment up, to go after some new business, or to do more business. But try to give yourself a life to live, because I want to tell you, this is hard work. And you can just overdo it. You can stretch yourself out way too far. And if you fill up your calendar 4 days every week for a whole season, then let me tell you the good news. It's time to put another crew on, and you'll start making some real money. What's the difference in advertising and marketing? Knowing the difference may be the difference in whether you grow your business to the size you want it to go to, or whether or not you waste a lot of money and never get a benefit from your advertising. So I teach in all my classes, and this is all I want you to hang on to right now, that marketing is the big picture. If we're going to use the term marketing in our classes in the academy, then marketing is always going to be talking about the big picture, things we do year-round, all the time, keeping our name out in front of people. Marketing money would be like the name you put on the side of your truck or on the side of your mowers. It'd be the T-shirts that you wear or that your help wears. It would be the little ads you put in the paper that you run every day. It might be your Facebook marketing that you put in. I'll mention here, most of the time you can do your advertising on Facebook. It's not going to cost you a penny. Or you do your marketing expert. So marketing is the big picture. Advertising is a piece of the marketing pie. So when we get into the business plan and marketing plan and the budget, your marketing budget will always be bigger than your advertising budget. The advertising would be when you've got something special that you want to promote. That would be like Randy wants to promote, hey, I can do fire ants. I can provide fire ant service. So you know, run some special ads, spend some big money on special ads for fire ants or a special type of spraying, because at certain times of year, that's a big deal. Or if pruning and pressure washing comes into play certain seasons. So maybe you got your regular marketing plan that's going all the time, but at certain seasons you spend some extra money with advertising. The key with that advertising money is to have a plan. I call it the looking hook or the 27 times rule, so that you're not going to waste that money. And we'll show you how to do that in our marketing webinars. Keep it simple. Keep it very simple. I want to tell you that it's the least expensive way to go, but will bring you the most return on investment. Now, this sign right here is on Highway 27 over between Cameron, North Carolina, and Lillington, North Carolina. On the left-hand side of the road, if you're going towards Cameron, lawn care, 2 phone numbers. It's been at this house for 20 years probably. They always keep this lawn looking really nice. To prune, the shrubbery is always pruned nice. So the message is, if you want a yard that looks like this all the time, call one of these numbers. That is effective, low-cost marketing and advertising. Now, is that a marketing ad or a advertising ad? What do you think? That's a marketing ad because it's there all the time. You follow me? It's year-round. Now, that sign, let's just say that sign cost $365, and it probably, it didn't cost it back then. It might cost it now. But if someone spent $365 with that simple sign, then how much per day is that going to cost you for a year? $1 a day. And that sign has lasted 20 years. So it's costing pennies a day. So if you live in an area that you can put up your own sign similar to this, or your customers will let you put up smaller signs or whatever, you can do that. Or even, and Randy, I'll mention this to you now as you get started, when I was mowing, I had some of these signs that like real estate folks use, yard signs. And when my crews was doing mowing, my crew leader, first thing they'd do would be put a sign in the ground with our name and phone number on it, so people would know if they had an interest in calling us for one reason or another, advertise. And then when we left, we took the sign with us. For my residential customers, I would leave the sign there for 2 days. Why 2 days? Because after the 3rd day, things don't look as pretty, right? So it's a good, inexpensive way to start growing your business. And you can get those stick-in signs at any vinyl advertising place. Every town's got a place now that can make you a yard sign. Randy, let me ask you, since you started, are you doing any advertising or marketing yet?
Yes, I bought a package deal where I got the magnetic signs go on the truck, a few metal signs to go on the trailer, and about 10 yard signs, like you stick in your yard, like political signs. Yeah, and yeah.
Everybody give Randy a hand. All right, attaboy. I'm proud of you. How about that, Andrew? That's the way to get started, isn't it?
I like that.
Yeah, Andrew,
Yeah, he did it.
you hear what he's doing? Randy, I'm proud of you, man. Will you send me some pictures of your signs? I'll help promote your business for you.
All right.
Please do. I'd like to see some snapshots of that whole presentation, and I'm so happy that you've done that. Now, when did you start using them?
Probably about 3 weeks ago. That package deal probably cost about $530.
All right. Well, you hadn't got to get but 2 deals and it'll pay for itself, right?
Yeah. I've got a couple deals off of the signs. Yep. Right. It's working.
So you can go to your trader magazines or your local newspapers and put in just really small 1-by-1 little ads and run them, on a regular basis, get the very best rate you can for a long term. Put your message in there. Now, is this an advertising or a marketing ad? This is a marketing ad because it would run all the time. Keep it simple. Just let people know what you're doing and be aware of you. And you'll just be amazed at how many opportunities that you can get. I want you to be real careful when you're saying free estimates, though, in your advertising. Because indeed you may do that, but sometimes I don't like to tell folks to do that, because if somebody calls you from 60 or 80 miles away or with a job that when you're talking to them on the telephone, you just know in your head that you don't want to touch that for whatever reason. I want to tell you, you don't want all the business.
That's right.
If you get all the business, you're going to get all the bad business too. So, and it don't take but a little bit of bad business to put you out of business. So I suggest that maybe on, depending on the area you're in or the type of business or how much you need to start giving estimates, you might back away from offering free estimates until you get a good feel for who you want to serve. But this is an example of a low-cost ad that you would run on a continuous basis. It's important you have continuous running ads. And Randy, with your signage that you're putting on your truck, that is a continuous running ad, and it's a mobile. So what that does is when you get ready to spend big money for a special ad, then your ads will be accepted as real because folks are already familiar with the fact that you're out here and getting it done. The companies that really want to grow and grow their businesses into the hundreds of thousands and $1 million worth of business and go after the high-end different types of ads will run ads like this one. This is a nursery operation down at Cape Carter near Morehead City and Swansboro, actually in the Newport community, where this nursery offers to install the plants that people buy from them. The keys, I got this up here, I want you to notice, if you would. Notice that they are promoting their Facebook ad. They're promoting their website. They're telling people where they are. They're offering discounts on certain days, or what we call a call to action. It's a real good marketing tool. And they're offering discounts for military and seniors. So what this is doing is building an ad that's got the look and the hook. The look is have an ad that looks good enough to catch somebody's attention, and the hook has some text and items in here that bring people to say, hey, I want to do business with you today. That's making your ads pay for itself. So they got the look and the hook here. Notice that they're offering, basically saying they got an incredible selection. Nobody can compare with their service. They deliver and they install. So what they're doing, try to picture this. This ad appeals to a high-end customer who's got money to spend. So if you want to appeal to folks that's got deep pockets, you've got to put ads out there for folks that have deep pockets. If you want to appeal to folks that are operating on a budget, you see the difference? We want all these customers, so we'll do our ads in different ways so we can appeal to different customers. Here's another a nice ad that this one is appealing to the romantic side of doing yard work. This has nothing to do with sweating and sneezing and getting dirty, because look at the ads, look at the words used in this ad. Desire, wish, dream, want. This ad is appealing to folks who have got the money to spend and don't want to do this work themselves. They want to hire somebody to do it. So we love the yard, but we want to come and do the work for you. That's the message there. So there's a lot of psychology the way that you'll use in more expensive ads. Before and after pictures are incredibly important. So I want to encourage everyone that's in business to start taking some before and after pictures whenever you got a really rough yard you're mowing, and take it before and then after, because those are really effective on Facebook and other places like that. Here are some more before and after pictures that they're using down at the beach. A bad plan is better than no plan, and time management is a must. Yeah, we can be great at our mowing, great at our equipment, look good, know what we're doing, talk the game, but at the end of the week when you're paying the bills, it's going to all come back down, and you're going to say to yourself, man, I need to do a better job with my time management. I can do a good job mowing, but I'm not getting paid for the time that I'm out there, and so I either need to become more productive or I need to start charging more money. So time management is a big deal. Where will you waste most of your money? I'll tell you right now. Having been there and done that, you need to stay inside the circle. And that circle for you may be 10 miles around your house. It may be 20 miles around your house. It may be that you drive 50 miles and then work within a small circle. But here's my advice, is always have a plan that you're trying to keep your business in a circle so that you're not wasting so much money, driving time, gasoline, wear and tear on your vehicle. How far can you go and remain profitable? Let me ask you that again. You always have to ask yourself, how far can I go and remain profitable? Well, it has a lot to do with how much money you can charge, of course, but you must always realize that every time you drive another mile, that's more gas, more wear and tear on your vehicle, and more labor time that you weren't working somewhere and making money. Where is your most profitable business going to be located, Angela? Andrew, where can you make more money than anywhere else? And Randy, when you're mowing, at the yard that's next door to the one you're mowing at now. It's always about, remember, and those signs that Randy mentioned, those signs letting the neighborhood know that I'm here, here's my name, here's my sign. It's a good idea to wear a name tag or have your name on your shirt. And if the sign on the truck says Randy, then the sign on the name of your T-shirt needs to say Randy, because people feel good about walking up to someone and all they have to say is, hey, Randy, how are you? Instead of asking what someone's name is. That is a major welcome to getting to meet people. But when you are thinking about inside your circle and you have your name tags and your signs and everything that promotes business inside that circle, that's a good idea. Now, here's another little tip. When you have door hangers, little brochures that's a door hanger that's made to go over a doorknob, or that you can fold over and put over the flag on the mailbox, when you're working in a neighborhood for the houses right around that area, before you leave, just go put your tag, put a little flyer out there. Now, you're not supposed to put things inside someone's mailbox. That's kind of against the law, I've been told. But you can hang a flyer on that flag on the mailbox, and it's perfectly okay. That is inexpensive. I call that guerrilla marketing, because it's spending almost zero money, but maybe it's the most effective ads that you can do. Now, that is so important that you list down the things that you do besides mow grass. On those tags, you're going to want to remind people that maybe you do pressure washing, maybe you do handyman work, maybe you do edging, yard repairs, pruning, mulching and pine straw, things like that. So keep in mind, having those brochures that you can tell the neighbors that you do extra things is almost an instant way to start making money. In different towns, draw circles around the area where you think you can make the most money, and that's the place you want to go into and put your signs out, put your brochures out, try to create business in areas that you know the folks there have the money to pay you and probably will pay you. What do I mean when I say database? I mean I want you to have a list of email addresses. Just that simple. All the email addresses that you can start combining so you can send out email and remind people that you're in business, tell them about yourself, send out emails maybe once every 6 weeks or more often if you got something special to offer. Start building an email list, okay? The more email addresses you reach out to, the better off you are. Any questions about that? All right, prospecting. No extra charge for this. I know that this is worth $1 million to you, but I'm not going to send you a bill for one more penny. It's just all part of the program. In the handout, I'm going to send to you, there's going to be a how to prospect when you're in the mowing business. And I'll give you all the people I could think of over about a 4-week period, different folks that hire other folks to do lawn care for them. And you'll be amazed. Everything from churches to fast foods to banks to schools, medical centers, different types of apartment complexes. So you can take this handout and you can go down, and what it will do, hopefully, is give you, hey, I know some people over here, or I know some people over there. When you see this list, hopefully it will give you a good place to say, I'm going to start prospecting at these different places. But that's a major part of the handout that I'll be sending to you. Any questions?
Yes, Steve, I have a question. You mentioned collecting email addresses. How would you go about doing that, collecting the emails?
Andrew, that is a good question. Thanks for asking. The first place you're going to go to is your email files, and just look back at your old emails, and you'll just start making a copy and paste. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yes, yes.
Copy and paste from your email list over to a new Word file, and just start creating a list of email addresses. First of all, people that you've been communicating with. Hopefully some of those are friends and neighbors who would be able, number one, to have an interest in your service, but most importantly, maybe these are people that would forward your information on to people they know. You know, on Facebook, it's all about sharing. Well, with email addresses, it's all about forwarding. So the more email addresses you can send out that you're getting started to, the more chance they'll share that with folks. And this will grow. Now, what I do and have done for over 15 years is every day in my equipment business, when I have customers that are asking me to send them a quote or asking a question, every time I get ready to send an email out to a new person, I copy and paste their email address over into my database. And that database now is at over 4,500 addresses. So what does that mean to me? At least a dozen times a year, I will send out what I call a blast, an email blast to all the people on my email list, where I promote certain tools that are in season or tell them about new things. And that costs me about $50 to do that. And my average now, when I send out those 4,500 emails, is to get at least 20 responses back from that right away. And of those 20, generally we will sell 10 different items. Now, my stuff sells for, on average, from $1,500 to $10,000. So it's easy for you to imagine that that is a good $50 investment for me to make if it brings you back that kind of return.
Yes.
Once you're in business for a while, you'll just be amazed at how large your database can become and how effective it is. Now, what else does that do for you? Once you start I call this broadening your customer base, because once you can broaden your customer base out to the point, you can start offering not only services, but products. And if you've got a small business that's up and running, Randy, you're thinking about doing service work, but once you get your business established, there's nothing that says you can't start selling products as well, different items. And you'll learn wholesale and retail business, and then that business can grow and grow and grow, like on this profit center slide that's up here now. Let's say that I'm going to have at least 5 profit centers in my business. And a profit center is something you're doing to help you make money. Randy already mentioned pressure washing, but I want to say now we can mow, we can do spraying as he's already got his license. We can focus on fire ants, tree trimming, handyman services, pool services, different types of landscape and repair. So if you've got 5 different profit centers that you can bring in regular income from 5 different areas of customers, that means that hopefully all year round you're going to be able to have some money coming in. So some of you are getting started, and one of the questions is, do you know anybody that wants to become a partner with me and invest in my business? Well, I always put this up because people sometimes don't want to ask that question. But the answer to that question is I do not. I don't know anyone that wants to invest with you in a business. But if I knew about your business and knew that you were ready to start a business and had a good customer base or a good business plan up, and I was not taking a large risk with you, then I might be ready to do that. So that's why it's important for you to position yourself as an upcoming business person with a good chance of being successful. Then you may have a good chance for finding someone or some institution that will have a chance to want to invest with you. You're going to need to know how much money you need to get started. You want a timetable of how fast you want to grow this thing and get into business. And if you borrow some money, what position are you going to be to pay it back? Now, in our webinars that we're going to be doing starting in late April, we'll go through the business plan, the selling time for money, how to set up your payback schedules, and to put together a plan to help you be in a position to, number 1, raise money for yourself, or number 2, get started and see if someone might have a chance or an interest in helping you with a business loan. Do you need a business plan? Whether or not you're borrowing money, you do. Why? Because business plans help you avoid unexpected expenses and pitfalls that are out there. The expense side of it, if you're just getting started, is you want to give some idea, just like in the graphic that's available in your handout. Look at the different ways that you're spending money. Randy, I imagine you've already determined that you're spending some money on some things that you didn't think you'd have to.
Oh, yeah.
And every week that you stay in business, there'll be new type things come along. Well, it's a good idea that as you pay these bills and see these expenses, that you have a place or a journal that you're writing it down so you'll remember, hey, in the next few months, I may have an expense coming from here or there. When you're doing that and you know that these expenses may be coming in over on the right-hand side here, then let's think about where the revenues might come from. Where are the different ways and how you're going to make revenues in different methods. Having a plan, that means you don't have a chance to do it. But a business plan is all about one thing, and that's down at the bottom. Down at the bottom is to tell you what's left. What's left when we take all the money we hope to bring in and subtract all the money that we're probably going to have to spend. And if it's black ink, that's what's left, that's a good thing. But if it's red ink, that means we're spending more money than we're taking in. And that's easy to do with a new business. Heck, that's easy to do with any small business because life is tough. Nobody guarantees this is going to be easy. I've had a lot of good years, and I've had a lot of years that I wondered if I was going to make it another month or not. But that's part of it. You got to love it. So having a business plan helps take the scariness out of it. Having a marketing plan, and listen to me closely here, a good marketing plan will let you know what's next. If you've got this database and you're following what I call the Golden Goose marketing plan, you'll feel good about your business being stable. I talked to a fellow yesterday who does my yard work here at my home office. I helped him get started 25 years ago. He was right out of college. I loaned him money I financed his equipment the first time he got started. And today he told me the other day that he's got 72 apartment complexes that he's tending to right now. 72. I was amazed. And he's traveling all over the central and eastern part of the state. He's basically doing what I was doing 30 years ago, and expenses are higher now, equipment is higher, labor is higher, and he's making good money doing it, but he still has time to come by and say hello to his customers. So I'm so proud of him. He's got a good business plan that's working. Without a plan, I'll guarantee you that he wouldn't be bidding right, and he wouldn't, because you have to walk away from a lot of jobs if you end up with 72. Some of my people say you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. And with customers, there's a lot to that. There's a lot of frogs out there that you can't make a penny with and will lose your butt with, and you have to talk to them and learn about them before you can end up with what I call the princes, where you can stay with them for a long time and have a good customer. So let's start up your estimate, start your cost up, your documents, a sample guide, list everything that you think that you're going to have to spend. Now, here we go. List the skills that you think you need to enhance. I know that you're dedicated to running that mower and doing a pretty job with the lawnmower, but when the mowing is done, do you have the skills to run your small business the way you want to run it and to grow it? That's the question, and that's kind of what I'm all about, is to help you with business skills. Do you need to do a financial statement if you think you're getting ready to borrow some money or go finance some equipment? Let's draft a business plan. If you need some help with that, you can get some help. I want to tell you, you probably don't need a computer, at least a laptop, so you'll have a screen and can be able to do emails easily. Excuse me, got a cough coming on here. That's probably going to be a good idea if you're going to grow your business into the $20,000 a year range. You might want to go ahead and get set up with QuickBooks and learn how that works, or have someone to handle it for you. So there's some things you need to do to become a business. Getting your business plan up and running, start with a simple page. Put your name in there, how you're going to name your business. You don't have any DBAs. So I don't mention to you right now, DBAs are going to be really important to you. That's doing business as. Randy, have you named your business yet?
Yes.
What's the name of it?
Gallberry Lawn Care.
Gallberry, G-A-L-L?
G-A-U-L.
U-L.
Yep, Gallberry.
Okay.
It's a little neighborhood I live in.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's got a regional attraction. So let's think about Gallberry Land Care or Lawn Care, and what doing business as that you might want to grow with as you add special products that might be attractive to other people, such as, I'm just using this as an example, Gallberry pressure washing, Gallberry fire ant control. Those are DBAs, and you can use those with your marketing so that people aren't going to be confused about what actual service that they're calling you about. How you going to name your website, any slogans that you want to use. One of my slogans is service that satisfies. Slogans are good. They make good sense. Taglines you might use, or logos. Developing a logo that people feel good about recognizing. It gives you a sense of professionality. Things to do. You need to be convincing right now, personally, as an individual, it's time that you sell yourself. So you have to be professionally committed to doing what you're doing and to starting the new business, and to be able to walk up to a total stranger, the person at the next house over, and making your case and doing it professionally with a smile on your face, so that when you stop talking, they're ready to, you've encouraged them to talk back to you and to start an exchange. How does that happen? You practice it. You practice it over and over and over again until it becomes perfectly natural. Because if you haven't been out here serving the public for the last 50 years or 60 years, maybe introducing yourself and selling something is not part of your DNA. That would be believable. So you have to become a salesperson, and we do that with practicing. We go through a lot of that with our webinars to help folks have self-confidence and present themselves. Also, you don't want to learn how to do videos because with the power of the internet now and YouTube, as we all know how powerful that is, you'll be able to sell your case on YouTube by making videos, and lots of times customers will see that and decide they like you, they trust you, they'll want to call you up. So that's how important videos can be to us. In business, we don't have to show that we've been paying our taxes if we don't start doing business with vendors and maybe do some credit lines or borrow some money. You don't need to stay up to date on your taxes and be ready to share those records when they're asked for. Your credit scores don't have a lot to do with whether or not you can finance or get accounts with suppliers. So you want to be conscious of improving your credit score. If you know your credit score needs a little help, I can send you a study guide to help you start working on that right now. Know all about your insurance needs. Know that you're out there in a business world where you're apt to throw rocks or break windows or hit people. You want to make sure that you've got good liability insurance to protect yourself, your customers, and your own equipment that may happen because people might steal your equipment. You know, it's not uncommon. Every weekend we hear about somebody that's in the lawn care business. Someone stole your truck and your trailer or your mower. Just take it away. It happens all the time. So you want to make sure that you're taking the risk management tools to keep that from happening. Putting signage and stickers on your equipment is one good way to prevent people or discouraging people from stealing the equipment. So I'm glad to hear Randy talking about that you got some decals for your equipment. But make sure you've got your equipment listed by model and serial number. You got an inventory of it. And make sure your insurance agent has an inventory so that there's no doubt about if you have someone to wipe you out, that you can get replenished without a lot of hassle, because you don't want to be down for 4 or 5 weeks waiting on an insurance claim to come through. How are we going to have a positive cash flow? That's always question number one. The way that we're going to do that, we're going to plan to negotiate on every purchase to make sure that we're doing what we can to get the very best deal. Maybe you haven't been in the business world and been negotiating for buying the items that you need to buy about. Possibly when you go get ready to buy your mower that they didn't give you a good discount, or you didn't ask for it even maybe. Or maybe you didn't force them to do it by doing some heavy-duty shopping. In this business, I want to tell you, I've been selling equipment to folks doing the type of work you're doing for 50 years, and I've got room to negotiate. And my prices are as low as anyone in the world because I act on the internet, but I still got room to negotiate. So don't you have any second qualms about asking someone to give you a better price or making an offer for less than what they have said. It's not going to make them mad. Matter of fact, there's a good chance you're going to save yourself some money just by being smart. And we do a lot of talking about how to enhance your negotiating skills in our future webinars. Have 5 profit centers so that you can generate money from more than just one thing. If you're doing one thing with 1 or 2 customers, it will go south. It's not a matter of whether it will go south or not, it's just when it's going to happen. So you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. Calculate where you're headed always for the next 6 months. See how your cash flow is working. Think about, if I keep doing this for 6 months, how much cash am I going to have coming in on a monthly basis? And then we got to say, in forecasting, but on October 15th, we're going to have our first frost, and this cash flow is going to stop. So what am I going to be doing then to make money? That means back in August and September, you need to be talking to your customers about pressure washing and pruning and cleaning up or landscaping. It's up to you to forecast what that cash flow is going to be down the road so that you can start making more money when the weather gets cold. Talking about some basics now, okay? Professional services. You're probably going to need some help. If your business is going to become substantial, don't be afraid of saying, I need some professional help. And be willing to pay a little bit of money to get a lot of help instead of procrastinating. You're better off to get yourself in a position to do business, even if it costs you a little money, than you are to wait and wait and wait and wait and keep putting things off. So know that you're going to need a relationship with a bank. If you're going to run a business, you want to keep your money separate. Your business money needs to go in a separate account, and you want to keep up that separate. Okay, I don't need to quiet some microphones, so we are going to need to mute here for a minute. Getting a lot of background noise. There we go. So we'll get ready to talk. We'll turn it back on. I want you to have a relationship with a bank, and I want you to have a relationship with a bank that lets you take credit card payments. It is imperative that you take credit card payments in this business so that you don't pretend that you are a banker and finance other people's stuff. You should be paid when the job is done. Sometimes you should be paid before you show up. In other words, if people give you their credit card number and you have a relationship that when you roll up there and you do that work, when you leave, they all automatically know you got their number and you're going to charge their credit card and be paid. That is a good relationship to have with your customer. Don't be afraid to go there. A long-term relationship where people trust you and they trust you not to charge them when they shouldn't, then that's what you want to do, because those folks will stay with you and they will refer you to other people. In other words, that kind of customer, we call them a raving fan customer, because they generate more business for you. Your insurance agent's going to be very important to you. Number one, they're going to be important to you because they're going to look after your interests. Number two, insurance agents know a lot of people. And if you're a customer there, then they're the place they can refer other business to you. Because new people coming into the area end up at the real estate office or the insurance agent's office. And that's a good place for you to have your business cards laying around and the agents that are going to refer people to you. I should have a real estate typed right in there, because that's a good place to find and get referrals for new folks coming in. If you don't have a website developer yet, don't wait to get on the internet. Don't go buy services from someone else and have someone else provide your website to you. I want you to own your website. More importantly, you can go on the internet without having an expensive website right away. Eventually, you're going to need it, and I'll show you when you're after a while. But right now, you can go on Facebook and get a good internet presence, and you can go to a place called Google My Business. Google My Business account. You get there by going to your Google apps and just look for Google My Business. That's where you can establish an ad on the internet right now, where people can give you 5 stars, talk about your business. You can show and talk about your business, and it's free. It's like having a free website that's owned by Google. Now, eventually, you can buy ads there if you want to, but you don't have to right now. Google My Business, very important. Now, naming your business. A corporation in North Carolina can't have the same name that another one does. So you can go to the Secretary of State website here that's on the slide, and go there and type in any business name you want to, and it will tell you whether or not someone else already has that name. And you can keep on doing it until you find an available name for your business. Even though you're not ready to incorporate, I really suggest you go through this test, because it won't be long before you are. You see, when you get out here in business and you decide you need to become an LLC, which means you're incorporating, and you will do that. Sometimes the insurance people will tell you you have to. Sometimes the bankers will tell you need to go ahead and do it if you don't get an individual banking account, a business account. You don't need an employer ID number. So go ahead and check out and make sure that someone else doesn't have the same business name that you're thinking about. Now, Randy and I were just talking about the North Carolina pesticide license, and that is to say that if you're going to be in the lawn care business and put any type of chemical out on somebody else's lawn, put any kind of chemical out on somebody else's lawn, be it lime, fertilizer, different kind of spraying, then you need to have a license, North Carolina pesticide applications license. And to do that, you're going to have to pass a couple of tests. You're going to need to pay out $100 to $150 to get it done. You'll need to do a little studying. And then there's some other criteria that we would need to talk about. But you can go to this website and learn all about it. Now, Randy just shared with me one of the great advantages of doing these webinars. There's a place that we're going to find that when you go there, you type in On YouTube, North Carolina turf and ornamental spraying, there's a fellow on YouTube already offering videos that goes through the whole test and helps you study for it with YouTube's. And that is very valuable because for a lot of years, more people went and took this test and didn't pass it the first or second time and had to go back several times. But with what Randy's talking about here with these videos to study it, then there's a good chance that with studying you'll be able to pass it the first time, save yourself a lot of hassle. Randy, I'm going to turn your mic back on. Any other comments we need to make about that?
No, like I said, I ordered both the books before I started looking at his videos, so I had the books and watching the videos, and it really helped out. I didn't go to none of the other classes. The only thing I did is schedule a day, an appointment to go to take the test.
Right.
And I didn't go through the whole 2-day, 8-10 hours. I studied at home and looked at YouTube, and I had no problem taking the test. Passed both of them.
Well, that's good. Thanks for sharing that. Andrew or Angela, do y'all have any questions for Randy? I'll turn your mics back on. I'm sorry, I turned you off. Andrew, do you have any questions for Randy or Angela?
This is Andrew. I don't have any questions for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Randy. We'll come back to you. Think of something else, I don't leave the mic on. Okay. Government and insurance. You don't need some insurance if you got employees. Workman's comp, liability for damages, inland marine to cover your own equipment, and bonds. A lot of people have heard the word bonds about being bonded and really don't know what that is. Bonding is a type of insurance. And that is to say that I don't bid on the job and I don't bid $10,000 to mow the grass here for a season. And I get started in the job and I fall on my face and don't make it, or they fire me for not meeting the stipulations. Well, when that person fires me, then they're going to go to my bonding company or my insurance company, and that insurance company is going to pay someone else to finish out my contract. That's what being bonded is. So if you go to work at a government base, a military base, or the Federal Administration of Aviation, like you're mowing it, or putting fertilizer out at airports, or down east, if you go to the Voice of America with all those antenna towers, they have some huge mowing contracts related to them, and or to any of the fish and wildlife reserves, or some contracts related there. They're going to require that you have a bond to do business with them. If you're mowing the right-of-ways for the towns or the cities, they're going to require that you have a bond. Can anyone get a bond? Pretty much anyone that's got a clean record, that hadn't been into bankruptcy, got a pretty decent credit history, and they hadn't got any felonies on their account. Generally, you can qualify for a bond. And the better your record is, the least amount it'll cost you. It's not very expensive. It really isn't. Now, I mentioned that in other things, maybe you're saying, I'm not going to go after that kind of work because they just require too big of a contract. But maybe you want to do fast food places. Maybe you want to do the local bank or the local medical offices. More and more companies are requiring that their contractors are bonded. So when you're talking with your insurance company, your independent agency there in your town, ask them about, now, if I need a bond, are you going to be able to help me? And see what they have to say. It may be the difference in whether you stay with them or you go to somebody else. So here we go. What's next? Are you building a business that you want it to stand alone? In other words, it's going to be all my income, and I don't have any other income from anywhere else. If that's the case, it needs to be built a certain way. If you're just working for a wage, that is, you're hoping for X amount of extra money per week, then you'd build your business another way. Two different situations, and when you know that and you build a business plan to meet those needs, you'll be better off. Time management. here's a key that's helped me so much through the years. When I look at a job and I'm bidding it, even a landscape project, when I'm trying to figure out how long it's going to take me to plant a tree or a shrub or do some sod work, put in your mind all about 15-minute increments. When you're looking at a job, think in terms of it not 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 minute or I don't do all this in a certain number of minutes. Think in terms of 15-minute increments and always round it off to the next hour or next half hour. You can really get in trouble when you're doing your estimating, and when you got, like if you're estimating where 6 people are going to be out there working, you'll need a different sheet for each person and picturing in your mind what they're going to be doing. It's really hard to estimate how long it takes to do a job unless you have done it yourself. You might think you can get something done in 15 minutes, but when you actually go do it, it takes you an hour and 15 minutes. So be careful there. That's a sticky point. Pretty much everything that I've always done, one of my rules of thumbs is I never asked one of my employees to do anything that I hadn't ever done myself. But I've got a long history of doing a lot of stuff, so that was fairly easy for me. If you don't have that experience, then here's the key. You need to talk to somebody that's been there and done that. And indeed, if you're going to grow your business in a hurry, one of the things in private counseling I tell folks that really want to grow a lawn care or landscape business in a hurry is find an estimator. Find someone that's been there and done that and really knows what to expect. You know, you might get someone to do something in 15 minutes, but if they're doing it 80 times a day, it may take them 45 minutes to do it at the end of the day. That's the kind of logic that you have to think. Think smart, because the worst thing you can do is underbid your hours. When you start underbidding your hours, things just start multiplying in problem. Crew sizing. Isn't that a pretty picture? It's not like mowing grass or running weed eaters or blowing or putting out pine straw or mulch or landscaping or running equipment. But that's what you're going to be doing, but crew sizing is critical. I just want to share with you that one person out working alone, and we've got one person with us that's doing that. One person can do an amazing amount of work. But one person show with a helper can do 3 times as much work as one person can. A 3-person crew can do about 6 times as much work as one person can. And then here comes the wrinkle, because there's always a curveball. I don't tell you that with just ordinary labor that you hire out here on the street, a 4-person crew is a disaster. And why is that? Because a 3-person crew has someone that's working, but they're also overseeing 2 other people. And you can pretty much manage that even over a large landscape. But when you have 4 people out working, even if one of them isn't the supervisor, or you got a supervisor and 4 people working under them, the fact of the matter is there's always a sluffer in the crowd. You put 4 people together out on a hot day's work, one person will slough on you. I've never seen any difference. Is this scientific? It is not. Is it based on real work through the years? And if any of y'all have worked outside with crews before, I think you identify with this. There's always going to be some person that wants to slough or be lazy, and they can't do it by themselves. They have to go get someone else to help them be lazy. Like, you got a cigarette, can you help me do this? Or I'm having trouble with this. There's always one out of the 4 that's going to need some help. And when you have a crew that's based on 4 people and you've had to bring extra folks in, then that's going to be a combination. So the rule of thumb is, from old Papo Steve Ear, who's been there and done that, never have 4-people crews. You're better off to have 2 3-person crews, so that you've got 2 people on the job that are supervising and making sure that things are moving forward and staying on time. Remember that time management stuff? 1 supervisor and 2 helpers can get along pretty good. So just keep that in mind. It's also not a bad idea if you're really growing your business and want to take it with 5 or 6 crews, as I had, that you can bring in a consultant or just a manager that looks over several crews at a time, that travels around, does spot check-ins. Remember I set up one day a week that I was out with my crews. what I'd do is I'd get in the car early in the morning and I'd show up with one crew, unexpected. I'd run the mowers, I'd run the weed eaters, I'd see what people were doing, I'd see who was working hard, who was doing. I'd try to keep morale up, buy their lunch or have refreshments because morale is so important in this business. People need to be happy if they don't be engaged to try to help your business work. I'd leave that site. Sometimes I'd drive 60 miles or even 100 miles if I had to because I wanted to visit with every crew at least once every 2 or 3 weeks so that they knew that I was there and I cared. I was trying to understand what they were having to deal with. At the end of the day, at 6:30 and 8 o'clock, or 6:30, 8 o'clock, when they came driving in from traveling all over the state, we worked in 21 different towns, and they always came back to Dunn every day. At the end of the day, and I met them out there, and I listened to what they had to say about what went right, what went wrong, who had a good attitude, who needed to be set free, let them go, because sometimes you're just better off to let somebody go, set them free, and hopefully they'll go to work for your competitor. In this kind of business, if you're dealing with folks that are hurting your morale, you're better off to set them free, as I used to say. All right, let's move into a subject now these last 30 minutes for a little while. We'll talk about equipment sizing. That is a big deal. It has a lot to do with what your proficiency is going to be, what your investment is going to be, what your maintenance costs are going to be. Is the sizing of equipment is really important. So generally, if someone that is doing residential lawn care would want to stay with 36 and 48 and maximum 60-inch wide mowing equipment. If you're doing estate mowing or large homes and with large landscapes, you might want to have the capacity to have 60 and 72-inch cuts. Very seldom can a 72-inch, a 6-foot mower, manipulate around in a small yard because gates and fences and shrubs are planted too close together. But if they've got some large landscapes and you can knock out some big area in a hurry, and let me tell you, it really looks good if you've got that clean sweep 6 foot wide. That curb appeal on how pretty that grass is really important to you. You want to learn about the type of mowing that you're doing. Do you want side discharge or rear discharge mowers? Do you want mulching blades and mulching kits? So for the different types of mowing, are you going to mow with a tractor, which oftentimes is a lot easier ride on you and the equipment than a zero-turn mower or a front mower deck unit. Or sometimes that tractors are indeed the best to use, either with rear-mounted mowers or with belly mowers. So they cost more, but indeed they'll do a lot more because you can get a subcompact tractor now with a good mid-mount mower, or it can pull a rear mower, a backhoe, and or a front-end loader, all for a pretty nice package that allows you to do work all year round, doing a lot of different types of work. Now, one of the specialized tools, especially down east, is someone that wants to get into the tractor mowing business, is ditch bank and pond mowers are becoming really popular now. We're not having to use those huge $15,000 to $30,000 Hardy type mowers that used to swing out hydraulics real far to the side. Now with these smaller mowers, you can use subcompact tractors and smaller ones and do a good job with ditch banks and mowers. Some contractors are doing this, and that is all they're doing. They have their mowing schedule already set up that they'll go to these places once every 2 or 3 weeks, mow around the ponds, do the ditch banks for people, load up and go right down the street and do someone else's, getting really good money, paying for their equipment, and making a good return on investment. And not having a lot of stressful work. This is fairly low stress work. But what it does, it keeps that homeowner or a property owner from having to get out there with those back-breaking weed eaters to get it done. So it may indeed put you in a position to offer something to some customers who had never thought that they could get someone to help it with it, and that open up a lot of doors for you. This is a Sickle Bar Mower. They've been around since a long time. They used to run mule-drawn Sickle Bar Mowers where this unit can cut. It cuts like a scissors. Very, very popular in cutting a lot of different types of mowing. Some mowing contractors are using these mowers for homeowners, for people that have small hay acreages. It's mowing, and by golly, it pays a good price, and it's you can cover a lot of acreage and put some good money in your pockets for it. The thing about these is that folks are using these to prune their tree lines. Some folks with blueberries and other types of crops are actually using the mowers to trim their bushes. So I sell a world of these mowers to a lot of different kinds of contractors. Drum mowing is a new mower for eastern North Carolina. It's used mainly for hay. The advantage of them is if you've got a customer that wants you to handle their small hay acreages, and more people now, they're either got a real big hay acreage and the large operators have no interest in putting their large equipment in on small farms. So more and more estate owners, especially people down around Edenton or Elizabeth City, in these areas, your horse farms, a lot of people have some hay acreages, 5 and 6, 7 acres of hay. They can't get anyone to cut it for them. You can take a drum mower and knock it out so quick it's unreal. And these mowers require almost zero maintenance and can be operated with small tractors as well. Disc mowing is mainly strictly for hay fields and for larger fields. But it's just a mower that is becoming popular. Very few mowing contractors are doing disc mowing unless they are mowing for hay fields. So there's nothing at all wrong with you pursuing a mowing contract that basically you're mowing for hay and for tedding. The bush hog probably makes more people more money than any other product in the contracting business. They're available in all sizes, and everybody with a vacant lot, small towns, people want their areas bush hog once or twice a year. It's a good thing for a mowing contractor to have, especially, listen to me now, especially in the fall and winter months. This is a good time while your regular lawn care business is soft, bush hog is a good way to make some extra money. Flail mowing is another type of mowing used mainly on right-of-ways and in institutions. Institutions being large schools or people with large lawns where they don't want to take any chance with flying debris. A flail mower almost never sends any debris out flying like a rotary mower does or a regular lawn mower. Flail mowers keep it pretty safe. So look at here. You're looking at the biggest growing market for contract mowing in the whole United States. Solar farms, and down east they're just everywhere, right? Solar farm mowing and contracting is huge, and it's a whole new world. Probably there is as much new business in solar farm mowing now than all the other types of general contract mowing combined except right-of-way mowing. As fast as solar farms are being put up, there's another contract for someone to do the mowing. Mowing is easily done with a sickle bar mower. It's one of our biggest groups of customers, is that take those sickle bars and mow under the panels, and you can also take the ditch bank mowers and get under them as well. But sickle bar mowing is really good. So here I got to mention to you, the competition with someone using mowing equipment to do solar farms, guess who it is? It's people that are growing sheep and goats. The sheep farmers and the goat herders are moving their herds from one solar farm to another. They mow the weeds down, eat the grass, and then they move them on to the next place. It is an amazing operation. It's good for everybody. So it's good for everybody unless all you can do is mow with equipment. But even those people that's mowing with animals, they still have to do a certain amount of trim work with these other mowers, so there's a market out there. That's a very small percentage. I would say it's probably less than 10% at this point in time. I don't think it'll ever grow more than 25%. So every time you're riding down the road and you see a solar farm up, I want you to say, wonder who's doing that mowing. Wonder if that's something I can do and make a good profit doing it. I want to tell you that just my little operation, I sold over 60 mowers last year to people doing solar farm mowing. So I know there's a lot of people doing it, and they're making good money doing it. If you're going to be in the mowing business and you don't serve solar farms, and you can get out there when they're building the farms and they're brand new, then every solar farm has a job and a contract waiting for someone to do seeding. And if you've got the right kind of seeder and a tractor that can handle it, then there's a good profit that you can use. And when you have one of these type seeders, you can reseed lawns, you can do new landscaping, you can do all different types of work. So this is an implement that if you're in the tractor type business, that you can make a lot of money doing different types of contracting with specialized implements. All right, you ready to bid a job? Well, I want to tell you, here's what you want to do. When you're bidding a job, you want to inspect that site. You want to go there. You want to analyze the demands and the specifications of what's going to have to be done. You can't be in a hurry to do it. You need to estimate how many jobs like this you can do per day so you can see if you can do several of these jobs per day and fit it into your calendar. Because I'm going to tell you, and it's going to surprise you, that the bids that you do for smaller jobs oftentimes has nothing to do with how much about the job. It's going to have everything to do with how much money you need to make on a certain day, and if this job will fulfill that need. Because your business plan is going to be about you making a certain amount of money every day. And let's say that you need to make $500 a day. So when you're bidding jobs, you can bid one job that earns $500, or you could bid two jobs that earns $250, or five jobs that earns $100 each. That's how you put your business plan together. Making your bids fit your needs, because remember we said that business plan is trying to tell you what's left, because I want you to know what's left at the end of each week and the end of each month. And the best way that you can end up by doing that is to bid your jobs and fit them into a plan that helps you meet your goal for income. We'll talk about that a lot, and I'll can send you more information about your business plan with handouts and study guides. But walk in the property, and let's look at this property here. You may think you know a property, but unless you walk it, you really don't know the requirements about trimming around trees. You don't know about these wet spots and weedy areas where you might have to spend hours working on them. You don't know about these banks and what type of maintenance that they're requiring around these pond banks. You don't know if they're requiring you to pressure wash these walkways. How about pruning? Are you going to be required to prune? So to bid a job, you need to walk it yourself. You need to ask a lot of questions, and then go back and ask the property owner or manager to answer the questions, to walk it with you, so that when you're offering this bid, you're going to be in the best position to make money. Because here's why. The person that is the best informed is the one that has the most reasonable bid that's got a chance to win. The person that's the least informed is the one that's going to offer a low bid and probably get the job to begin with, and we'll see right away that they're going to have to lose it and leave it. That way the property manager is going to come back to you because you had offered a bid. Maybe you weren't awarded the bid to begin with, but the best bids you're going to get through the years are those that you had bid high, and the people that had bid it low had to quit or did such sorry work they got fired. And those property managers come to you and say, would you have an interest in picking up this work now and helping us? That's where you're going to make some good money. So don't be afraid to offer a high bid, even if you think someone else is going to offer a low ball, because those low ball bids oftentimes never come to fruition, and the people that's got the higher bids actually end up getting to work and making some pretty good money for a long term. So, how do you bid? Let's say that your goal was to end up with $800 gross revenue, so you could put $400 in your pocket per day. We're going to say per day. So, keep in mind, for you to end up with $400, you may have to make $800. That's the message I'm trying to come through here. Always know that your cost of doing business must be added to the money you want to end up with. You're going to have gas, equipment, expenses, payments, meals, phone bills, you've got other expenses. So when you set a goal to how much per day you want to end up with, automatically you don't need to know, I'm going to have to make more than that to end up with what I got to have net. So many people just getting started in business say, well, hey, I went out and I made $400 today. But when you paid all your bills or your expenses, you didn't make anything. So that's why having a business plan is going to be so critical for us. Remember, I said this a while ago. Plan your business plan on 4 days a week. Always figure up all your costs, including fuel and maintenance and parts. In other words, I want you to have a good idea for how much money per hour it costs you to run every piece of equipment you got. I want you to take a good look at how much time you spend working, how much time you spend at Bojangles eating biscuits. Because biscuit time don't pay the bills. And especially if you've got a crew that enjoys a morning and afternoon biscuit time for an hour or so. You got 4 people that takes an hour off for an afternoon break. That's 4 hours that is gone, and usually another 4 hours to get back in the groove. Know what your taxes and insurance and vehicle costs are. Remember that you can make just as much money with a used $6,000 pickup as you can a brand new $60,000 pickup. Nothing wrong with you having a nice weekend pickup that looks good. So if you're in the landscape business, I want your trucks to look nice and be presentable and have a nice sign on the side of them. But if you're riding around on a brand new round pickup or one of these big $60,000-$80,000 pickups and looking really good, then there's a good chance that people aren't going to give you a chance to bid on their project because they think you're going to be too high to begin with. But if you've got a reasonable looking truck that is good shape, clean, presentable, nice looking sign on it, that is showing that it's economy and you're using good judgment on your investments, you'll have a better chance at people inviting you to bid for them. That's just a fact. That's not scientific, but that's what I've experienced through the years. Always keep in mind what your personal investment costs are as you're going forward. The places you don't make the most money is if you can get a large group of small lot business where you can cover 20 to 30 houses a day in the $25 to $45 each range or even more. If you can find those type of jobs and you can spend all day in one neighborhood, you'll end up making a lot more money at the time. Plus, those type of customers will give you more and more of their pressure washing, maintenance, handyman type work. In other words, they are familiar with you in the neighborhood and you'll be trustworthy and given a lot more opportunities. A bonus in the handout that I'm going to send to you is at the end of it, there's about 8 pages that is a step-by-step guide of how to approach a landscape project. What to do first and what to do last and everything in between. Because what I've learned through the years, and everyone else who does this work will learn it too, you lose the most money when you're landscaping. But when you do something and then someone else has to walk over what you just did, or you have to redo stuff because you didn't have the sequence in line. And if you've never done it, you don't know what the sequence should be. So I've tried to give you a work project guide that you can look with every landscape project. And through the years now, I've been using this for over 15 years with teaching with it, and I used it myself for 10 years. This guide, I perfected it. I would check off everything right down to how to get started, to the very end, to how to say thank you to the homeowner and bring them a potted plant or some candy or something other. In other words, start to finish, it's got all the kind of tips in there to help you be successful. Now, just as a word to the wise, whether you're mowing or landscaping, water, H2O, water, is going to be your biggest enemy forever. Because wet ground is never mows, it never looks good, you make a mess. Wet ground always grows tough, weedy, hard to cut grass and weeds, and after you cut it, it's going to still look like crap. When you're landscaping, erosion and washouts will be your biggest expenses because When you've done a really pretty landscape job and a thunderstorm comes by and washes all your work in the ditch, guess what? You got to redo it out of your pocket. So here's a word to the wise. Remember always to know where the water is, how fast it's going to run, and what you need to do to prevent it from hurting your work. Water will kill you, so just be careful with that. Be in a position to take credit card payments. Don't pretend to be a banker. Pitfalls. People who don't pay you slow or not pay you at all. Fuel costs going up and down. You're bidding jobs a long way off and fuel costs go up and make you lose money. How do you fight that? You always put fuel escalation clauses in a long-term contract. In other words, you base your bid on fuel prices being at a certain point, and then you have a statement: as fuel prices go up, my bids need to go up a certain amount. As fuel prices come down, I will reduce my bid accordingly. Leaks and spills. You're doing someone's pretty lawn out there and you're spilling gasoline or fertilizer or oil, then you're making a big mess that's going to cost you. Number one is you're going to have to fix it back right, and that's hard to do, or people aren't going to invite you to come back to work for them. And I don't blame them. Leaks and spills on people's pretty asphalt or concrete driveways, a new house, and you're walking in there with your equipment or your truck and you're leaking oil on it and you're making spots. People get real unhappy real quick, and you might be able to clean it up, but you can't take away the stains. Just be conscious of that, and especially if you've got a helper, make sure you keep your equipment out of the yard. Park on the street, park on the edge of the ditch. Don't take a chance on making spills. Big pitfall is somebody stealing your equipment, so you have to be careful. Be aware of flying objects and how much trouble and damages they can cause. Know that just because something looks like a weed don't mean it's a weed. It could be a very important ornamental plant or flower. So the best way to avoid disappointing a homeowner that's got something special out there that you cut down with your weed eater or you spray is to walk around the property with the homeowner and make sure they point out things that are special to them or that you don't recognize. You see this grass right here where it's all gapped up? Now that can happen to anybody mowing grass. And what will cause this to happen most of the time is low tire pressure in a tire. Inexperienced mowing contractors don't know that. So I want to tell you, low tire pressure can kill you, and that's one reason that you might want to use solid tires. It's one reason that you might want to make sure that you put fluid in these tires to keep them from going flat, or that you keep a constant watch on how level your mower is cutting, because you can pick up a nail out in the middle of a lawn, and 2 or 3 or 4 minutes later, as that tire pressure decreases even slowly, it'll start you to start having gaps. Well, it's real easy for us to say, us good old country boys, I don't worry about that. That grass is going to grow right back. Just give it a week. Put the water on it, it'll grow back right back. Well, I know it will, because this yard right here where you see it's gapped up, you know where that is? It's right out here outside my office. Yeah, because that's one that my mowing crew did, and I said, stop, I don't go take a picture of it. It's a long time ago, but what happened here, one of these tires, it was slack, and therefore the mower was cutting unlevel. What are you going to do about it? Be aware, first of all, and if you have people helping you, make sure they are aware to always be looking. Some folks will just get out there, and as long as the engine's running good and you're cutting straight, they just don't keep on mowing and never look down or consider, am I cutting level? Well, it's up to you as the owner of the company to train and teach folks to do that better performance, because messing someone's yard up is a big deal. Let's say this individual was getting ready for a wedding reception or a family reunion, or it's a real estate place and they were trying to sell the house. They'd be mad at you, and they wouldn't invite you to come back to work for them. Digging is dangerous. Digging is expensive. There's cables under the ground. And as a contractor, when you put your backhoe or your shovel into the ground and you do damage at what's underneath there, you have to pay for it. And that can get really expensive. There's a simple answer to this. Before you do any digging in anyone's yard, anywhere, you call 3 numbers, 811. You tell the 811 people where you are and what the location of that property is, and they've got 3 days to go out there and paint lines on the property wherever there's an electric line, a water line, a gas line, a phone line, a cable TV. If there's something under the ground and they don't mark it, then you're not responsible. If they do mark it and you dig through their mark and you do damage, then you're responsible. But it's just as easy as calling 811. Maintenance and landscape services bring in a whole world of different types of skills, of things you need to know. You can enjoy making good money, but you have to have the expertise before you need to know what you're doing with lots of maintenance and things like that. Mowing and blowing and pruning and weeding and leaf and debris removal, applying mulch, that's maintenance services. Don't require a lot of research, but there's good money to do there. But here's what you need to do. You need to start selling these services in the summer so that you're going to get into business when it's fall and winter. Niche markets are the best paying jobs for aerating, planting, fertilizing trees, which is a specialized project. Tilling up garden spots, like if you got one of those small tractors with a tiller on it, you make good money this time of year just tilling garden spots for folks. Cleaning gutters and pressure washing, always good money. I made probably as much money with my lawn crew during the winter as I did in the summer with them doing pressure washing jobs. The fire ant can be your best friend because people will pay you good money to keep them out of your yard. I don't know if you keep them out of your yard, but you can make them move around. That's what they seem to do in my yard. But if you've got grandkids, you don't want fire ants. So people will pay you a good price of $150 for a small yard to come spray it, and I pay that for 2 or 3 times a year. It's easy to do. You can set up an ATV or a small tractor to do different types of spraying. A lot of pools around nowadays, right? Folks that got pools, they want them nice and clean and want the landscaping pristine. So that's a good place for you to set up just a business doing pool cleaning and landscaping around pools and doing the maintenance there. It's a good side work. The more different jobs you can do in one neighborhood, whether it's doing the pool work and all the other types, the more money that you're going to make. The master landscapers don't need to know about design training. They'll need to know all about how to handle those water issues that I've talked about. You don't need to know about the fertilizer, the various types of grasses, planting trees and shrubs. You don't need to have a good relationship with the local nurseryman because those are the people that's going to send you a lot of business. When the people go shopping for their plants and talk to the nurseryman, the first question they're going to ask, can you come out and plant this? Now, I showed you a picture of a nursery that does, but most do not want anything to do with it. They have a list of people they recommend, and if you're on that list, you've got an instant flow of customers coming to you. That was how I got most of my leads for my landscaping work, was from my local nurseryman. Again, pool maintenance is another side job. Some people will start out doing landscaping and mowing, and after the first year end up in the pool business, doing the pool business all year long because there's always something to do around the pool. Stone walls and borders are one of those things that ties into the pool business. Very good niche market. It ties right into the landscaping. Installing irrigation is not rocket science. It's fairly easy to do for most folks. A little bit of training. Your supplies are available to you at most big box project stores. So irrigation is another side project that you can pick up some good money, as is lighting. Your possible profit centers can go a long way. So in your handout, connect your dots with all the different types of businesses and profit centers you might add. Diversification is the key to success and profitability. I want to show you a example of a small two brothers company over in Mount Olive and just how they're handling their marketing. They're in about their 8th year of being in business. They bought some equipment from me, and I learned about their website and visited it. But Wright Brothers over in Mount Olive, two really great guys, Joshua and Jeremiah, Christian men who are living the best life they can live and the way you ought to do it and look after their customers. Very proud to know them. Look at their homepage on their website. Always talking about doing new business. What they do that's different and what I want you to do is to be more about your personalities. Having a business where people are dealing with a web page is no good. Having a web page that introduces folks to other folks is real good. Their main goal, their guarantee, is 100% satisfaction. And that's the same thing that I preach in all of my lessons, so I'm glad to see that they're using that. Notice that they have a place on their website where folks can tell them about the different jobs they'd like to be quoted or different things that they're interested in doing. Look here, every one of these are things that we've talked about this afternoon. So I know it works. It worked for me through the years, and I'm seeing it work for the Wright brothers here. But they are using it on the internet to help tell their story. They are personal, telling about themselves, telling about their teamwork, so that people aren't doing business with a company. They're doing business with people and have a good idea about their local history and their interest in the community. They're proud to show pictures of their crews, their organization. They got their vehicle in there with their trade names. This is a people company. And when you're a people company, other people will want to do business with you because you're kind of like the people next door. And that's the kind of folks that new and established people in your community will want to deal with. They use a lot of before and after pictures at their website. We talked about that and how powerful that can be. So what are you waiting for? Where do you want to be in April of next year? Where do you want to be with your company in July of 26? Do you have a growth plan all the way to 2031? You can do that. If you're aggressive and you want to get to a certain point, plan on it now and maybe it'll work for you. Where are your customers? Again, go to this handout that you're going to have. I've got a whole long list of places you can find customers to start prospecting at tomorrow. Learn to wow and dazzle people. Your personal greetings, your phone greetings, how you follow up, and your cards that you use. Take advantage of the free training and seminars and webinars. Learn to be the best businessman you can be and start having raving fan customers. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. We're pretty much right on time. I want to say to you, don't wait till everything is perfect because it never will be. But it's about as perfect as it can get right now. Interest rates are low. Business is booming. People want new things done. It's a good time to get a business started, and you got plenty of business out there that's waiting for you, and you got plenty of help right here and other places of people that will help you make every moment matter so that you can live your legacy. It's been a pleasure to work with you this afternoon. I want to tell you that I'm looking forward to hearing from you a lot of different ways, and whenever I can help you, please give me a call. We'll move now to an open session and look forward to talking to everybody individually, and I'll stop the recording.